Hello and welcome to the third episode of Lost Art of Conversations podcast with your host, Joe.
And Paul.
So, Paul, we're back. It's the third episode.
We are.
I think before we start, we should probably thank the audience for tuning in.
Definitely.
We've definitely. Yeah. I don't know about you, but it's been a little bit overwhelming for me. Like I didn't expect to get such great reviews so far.
Yeah, and we got a lot of positive feedback, so that's really good. I think they're really engaging in our conversations, to be honest.
Yeah,
so,
which is great.
Which is good, yeah.
And what we talked about in the first podcast was that, or the first episode was that it was important to like review what we're doing, etc. And so some of the things that we listened to from our viewers was number one, that they want to know a little bit more about our history and about how we got to know each other, etc. So we're definitely going to have an episode soon that is going to be almost like a reminiscing episode.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, just so that the audience knows where we're coming from, how we became friends, and how we have evolved in our conversations over the years, and as a friendship as well. And I think it's a really good thing to explain to the audience, just to see that kind of connection and, how we're going to do things going forward as well.
Yeah. So it's almost like an origin story.
That's right. Yeah. An origin story.
An origin story. So today we're actually, the title of today's episode is called That's Debatable. So Paul, maybe you can tell us a little bit about why we think or why we thought to talk about this subject today.
Yeah. I mean, when people converse about things on a daily basis, not everybody agrees, right? Or, a lot of times they do, but they still have their own viewpoint or their own opinion about it, right? So we found that, to have a topic like That's Debatable, Joe's going to present a few things that I don't know what they are right now. And if, I'm going to agree or not, we're going to find out. And I'm going to do the same. And we're going to have a little bit of a back and forth. But I think that in conversations in general, again, to get your viewpoint across, you're sometimes not going to agree, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe somebody will change their mind, right? Maybe somebody will agree with you, whereas they, didn't before. So I think it's going to be a good topic. I think.
Exactly. And it's like Paul said, it's a lot about perspective and point of view. Right. And sometimes in conversations with people, all of a sudden you get that aha moment where you didn't even think about that point before you started that conversation.
And they don't always have to be serious discussions. They may be something simple. A few of the items today we may discuss, maybe just something that's fun to talk about. But who knows? Let's see what happens.
Exactly. And you know what? I think a lot of mine are pretty light as well. And I think probably some of yours are also. I'm sure at some point during the podcast, we will debate topics that are a little bit more serious. But considering what's going on in our world today, I think sometimes people, they just want to tune out what's going on, the craziness around them, and maybe just listen to some fun conversations about things that people debate on a day-to-day basis, really. Because I was talking to Paul when we're thinking about setting up this topic, and I said to him, when I was doing online teaching, one of the things that I missed the most was listening to the conversations of the kids in the classroom. I like to stay in the classroom when the kids are eating their lunch, and from day one of this year with my new class, I teach grade 8, the kids are constantly having conversations where they're debating things like, who's got a better superpower in like a Marvel character,
we used to do that too, though. I mean, we used to debate about everything.
Exactly.
I like this thing, you don't, and it was kind of that's the basis. That was the basis of our conversation, right? And that's how you explore things and get to know people's viewpoints, and then again, maybe you start to like what they like, and then you hang out or with new people, right? So it's kind of It's a snowball effect.
Exactly. And then you find out that you have some commonalities, and a lot of people, real world, like outside of like school, even, people are debating serious things. They're debating politics, they're debating religion, etc. It leads to wars, as we see even currently. Right. Yeah. But we're going to keep it light, I think, during this thing. And funny enough is that I even, my cousin from the US, he was talking to me and he said, "Oh, what are you guys going to talk about in the next few episodes?" And one of the things I said was we're going to debate some things, and I brought up topic 1 to him that I'm going to be bringing up to Paul, and he's like, "That's crazy because my wife and I were just debating about this."
Okay, I gotta hear what these.
Yeah, we're just debating about, and a few of mine are food related because
all right, here we go.
Right, so let's start. So my first, I guess, question, Paul, is long pasta or short?
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, but I want you to go into details because when I was thinking about this topic, I struggled with it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of factors that potentially can get involved. So I want to hear what your point of view is on this.
So in other words, this is the debate over the style of pasta.
Style of
now. Okay, here's a question. There are different types of lengths of pasta. So if you have a long pasta, there's the round long ones, or the long round ones. There's the long flat ones, that fettuccine. Yeah. There's long swirly ones. I don't know what they're called. And then you have the short pasta, which are penne, which are just short with little ribby things.
We're not going to I don't want to go as short as like those tubatini things that you put in the soup. I want I want to stick to.
So like a good size
small pasta, right?
Because it does matter the shape and the twistiness of it.
Of 100%. I agree with you. But I guess my question is this debated in your household?
So yes, it is, because my kids love to have spaghetti, right? That's the long pasta. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. So that's a debate number 1. Okay. I always like to make, it depends on what kind of sauce it is.
Here we go.
Right? Because, so now if you're doing red sauce, so tomato sauce, typical Italian tomato sauce pasta. Okay. I don't like the long pasta. There's something about the twisting of it and the texture when you put it in your mouth.
This is incredible.
Yeah. But if I'm doing a pesto type of pasta, I'll definitely use spaghetti because I don't like the pasta with I don't like pesto with short pasta. It's just something different. It's the flavor of the pesto on the length of the pasta. Yeah. It's like night and day from sauce pasta.
So interestingly enough, it's funny you say that because my cousin, when he was debating it with his wife, mentioned ricotta, right? Ricotta cheese. And he said you have to have the long pasta with the ricotta cheese.
You have to have long pasta.
But why?
So I think it's just the red sauce and the long pasta that bothers me. I think all other types of long pasta sauces are fine. Okay. It's just a thing. I don't know what it is. It's just maybe the sauce is too much when you roll it up or you spin it up in a ball and you have to eat it. But when you're doing the short pasta, the sauce just it just fits on the pasta better. That's what I think. So I can't do a regular pesto or a butter or as we call it, aglio olio pasta, which is just oil and garlic.
Just oil and garlic,
right? There's something about it that just doesn't go right. So
I guess my thing is has your preference changed over time? Because when I was thinking about this, when I was young, I didn't eat long pasta. Like spaghetti specifically. Mm-hmm. Something about the texture, it didn't go down my throat. Mm-hmm. My dad would freak on me because he's probably thinking in his head, I have this Italian son and he's not eating spaghetti. And I would sit there and I would twirl it. I would make it look like I ate it. I cut it up, put it to one side of the plate. Yeah, my typical thing from my dad is if I put that on one side of you and a rock on the other, which one are you going to eat?
Yeah. Well, but didn't your parents used to cut it up for you because you couldn't twirl it when you were younger?
No, that they didn't do.
Okay, so the other problem I have with the long pasta, so it's not just the type of sauce you put on it, it's the fact that when you twirl it, you're not twirling it all the way. It just doesn't twirl all the way. So you're going to have a length of it left on your fork. And when you eat it, you kind of have to slurp it up. Okay. And that bothers me because it goes everywhere. If you're wearing a white shirt
There we go.
And maybe you're at a wedding and they serve spaghetti. How many weddings have you been to that serve spaghetti? Not that many. Not that I know of. And if they do,
it's because they got a side laundry business going on.
That's right. Well, they have an option between the spaghetti or the rice, right? Yeah. So you pick the rice so you don't get all dirty. Rice. But if you're having like fettuccine at a wedding, I see people, buttoning up their coats.
Yeah.
They put their coat on. They have, the ladies are putting their scarf on or something just to distract the overspray.
They got napkins. They're putting napkins on top of each other.
That's right. So because, God forbid you have a little sauce pasta stain on your shirt.
So setting is important.
Setting is important.
Yeah. So you're saying first date, definitely you're not having spaghetti.
You're having chicken and salad. That's it.
Chicken and salad. So you're not even going pasta at all.
No, there's no pasta.
Skip the pasta if it's the first date.
First of all, it's heavy. It'll put you to sleep right after. Okay. That's number one. So you want to be fully aware on the date. Okay. That's number one.
Fully aware.
But number two, it's a mess. It's a mess. I mean, now if the other person orders the pasta, you got to respect that.
Yeah.
But you don't want to say anything if they're getting splashback on their
hashtag
clothes.
Splashback is going to be going to be the hashtag for this episode.
You don't want that to happen.
So that when I was thinking about this, you know what? I could guess that you were going to go short pasta.
Yeah, because well, here's an example. When I used to play hockey, I played hockey for many, many years. Before a game or practice, every single time I used to have macaroni, the short pasta with sauce.
Yeah.
Because it gave me energy for the game. You get carbohydrates for the game. Spaghetti, forget about it. If something sat differently in my stomach, maybe not digestible or as much as this, the short pasta. It's just something about it. So I was used to the, penne or rigatoni with pasta, red sauce. That's it.
Yeah.
But again, the spaghetti red sauce, forget it. It just doesn't work.
So I guess my final thing before we put this debate to rest is, what about the ingredients within the pasta? Like, I know we talked about sauce, but what about the actual, like, if it's meat, if it's shrimp, if it's chicken, how much does that affect your choice of long or short?
Well, if you do like a vodka sauce or a rosé sauce, it's hard to, I think any kind of spaghetti or pasta
I go
works
penne
well
with the rosé sauce. I think you gotta go penne.
Me too. But if you have like a good fettuccine and a red sauce, sometimes it's I gotta admit it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you're right. It depends on what you're putting in the sauce.
Like white sauce, I think is a long pasta sauce.
You can do like a gnocchi with like a creamy sauce.
Yeah.
But fettuccine in Alfredo sauce, that's pretty good too. But again, it's not red.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can both agree then that the long pasta versus short pasta is definitely, there's a lot of other factors that come into play when it comes to choosing this. But if you had to choose and you had no clue what sauce was coming with the pasta, what meat was coming with it, you'd probably close your eyes and say, I'm going with the short.
And you know what? Sometimes you just gotta take what you can get. If it's there, it's made.
That's it.
You just gotta eat it.
That's it. You need your carbs. You need your carbs.
You need the carbs. You got to eat it.
All right, Paul. How about you go with your first?
Okay, so my first one is, and it happened today actually. So I'm sure you've done it. It's happened more during the pandemic where everybody's at home and they love to do things online. So my debatable topic is grocery ordering online for either pickup. You drive there and pick it up, or get it delivered, versus going to the store, going inside.
Paul, you took a version of my number 5. You took a version of my number 5.
We'll debate that as well.
I think when you were setting up the cameras, you took a sneak peek for sure.
Maybe I did.
So grocery, I'm going to be honest with you right now. For me, I feel like after I started doing the pickup where I order ahead of time on the app, I feel like I can't go back.
It's convenient, isn't it?
It's the convenience.
Now, is that ordering, going to pick it up or getting it delivered? Because I think only a couple places deliver.
No, so we don't get it delivered. I think part of it is also the fact that where we live, there aren't very many grocery stores close to where we live. And they don't offer horse and carriage delivery. so that's definitely not an option. But the pickup option is what we normally go with. There's two things that at times get in the way, though. One of them is that certain stores, like for example, we like to switch it up. We don't always order from the same grocery store.
Makes sense,
sometimes we do a no frills, sometimes we do a Fortinos, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's because like if I'm on the way home from work or my wife is on the way home from work, a Fortinos is in the way or on the way, etc. So it makes it easier. But the Fortinos, you can stay in your vehicle.
Yes,
and they will bring it to your car. Whereas the no frills doesn't. You have to go inside, and they have the stuff in a fridge with your name on it.
Well, there's the problem. What's the point of that?
Well, the point is,
wait,
that
they have a fridge that you just go in there.
Yeah, there's a fridge
and they put
and a
it
freezer.
In the fridge. So spend another 10 minutes and go pick it up.
But it's not 10 minutes, Paul.
I know it's a lot more time. I know.
We don't do like multiple grocery shops during the week. We try to do, which is probably a debate in itself, right? Because in one way we save time, but then I think a lot of waste occurs when you're doing one big shop because either you overbuy or things. You do overbuy and things are just kind of sitting around somewhere. Maybe stuff isn't as fresh, etc. But going into the store, it's annoying. But now I'm finding that the thing that annoys me more is actually the fact that they don't do proper substitutions, or sometimes I do my orders early in the morning, right? For an early morning pickup sometimes on a Sunday morning, for example, and they haven't stocked from the day before, or they because my pickup is the first one in the morning, they do the everything at night and leave it in the fridge. So then what ends up happening is I get the email and it says, we didn't have this, we didn't have this, we didn't have this. So once I went into the store and all those items were all there. So
so that's a problem with it. So this is my opinion here.
Yeah.
So today we ordered the other day we ordered from Longo's.
Okay.
So they have Grocery Gateway that they're affiliated with, and they deliver.
Yep.
Now, a couple things. We found that, they mark up the prices slightly from going into the store and buying.
I think they're known for that.
Okay, Longo's, fine. Yeah. So then you have to pay for delivery.
Yeah.
And then it's, I guess, customary to tip the delivery person.
Okay.
But there's a convenience there. So I'd gladly pay to not go to the store.
Yeah.
However,
I'll gladly pay not to go to the store.
That's right. However, if an item or two or three are missing, as they have done in the past, you have to go there to pick it up anyway, because you're not going to reorder 2 to 3 items.
I call to get the credit, to be honest.
Okay, so that's we've done that as well, but you still don't have the food.
It's true.
Right? So
exactly.
If they've missed a critical
item. If you ordered it, you probably wanted it.
That's right. If they've missed a critical item that you need to prepare the meal for that night or whatever, you're going to the grocery store on the way home from work or wherever, right? So that's one thing. If you're going to the other stores that you have to go to the store to pick up, you're going there and they still don't get everything you need. And you don't find out sometimes until you get home. Or you read the receipt and there's substitutions, that's fine. But sometimes, I think about, I would say 7 out of 10 times that we've ordered to go pick up at the store, there's missing items. So what do? You go there, you drive there, then you have to go shopping. So, and you have to pay for that service to get the items that you ordered, but they didn't have. So now you're doing double work and paid a little bit more. That's my opinion.
It's definitely a conundrum.
So I think the safest thing is to go to the store and go grocery shopping.
You know what though? I think the difference between my experience and yours is that it sounds like the things that are lacking from your order are very critical.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas mine, if I have to, I can live without.
Yeah. Listen, so maybe you're making spaghetti and you're missing the sauce. Right?
Well, that's the thing, right?
For me, that would be a good thing, though, because
Yeah, but for me, it's more. It is annoying when things are missing, but the convenience of that time that I'm not wasting in the actual grocery store itself, for me, it makes such a big difference because when I go into the grocery store. store, first of all, like you got to deal with all the different getting through the aisles because of
you got to wait to pay.
Because of my work schedule. A lot of times, if I'm going to go grocery shopping, I'm going to go during peak hours that everyone else is going grocery shopping. You know what? It's just taking time away from my life where I could be doing something that I actually enjoy. And don't get me wrong, I actually, when I did grocery shopping, I enjoyed it. Yeah. Okay, I didn't mind it. I like getting a good deal on something, right? So when I'm in the store,
that's the thing too. Yeah, because online they may say sale price, but that sale price could be the regular price.
It could be, yeah.
Right? You don't know.
Yeah.
And you could compare their coupons and things, but
yeah.
To me, you're right.
So it sounds to me that you'd prefer to go in the store.
No, well, okay, two things. I prefer to go in there shopping in the store, or have them delivered.
Okay.
But to go there and wait to pick up, I find it just just go inside.
Yeah.
While you're there, just go inside.
I think that
you're waiting 20 minutes sometimes to get them to bring it out to you, right? So, anyways, that's what I think.
And interestingly enough, I called Paul yesterday from a grocery store.
That's right.
Because things happen, right? Like we were planning on going to church. Something held us back. We didn't end up going to church. I had set up the order for after church, so now I have to drive to where I was going to go because I was going to be in the area. I picked up the groceries, but here's the thing: when I ordered it, and here's the thing, the crucial item, my wife was making chicken that needed fresh rosemary, and the fresh rosemary was nowhere to be seen on the order. So of course I go into the Fortinos,
there you go,
and I go to get the fresh rosemary, right? And then I go and I wait in my car. So I gotta leave the store. I gotta wait in my car. I called the guy up, and the guy's like, "Oh, you're fifth in line to get your groceries," because they got so many people, right? But the positive thing was that in that time, I had a conversation with my friend Paul.
That's right.
There you go. Right?
That's right.
So there was time that was provided, and I had a conversation with Paul. We were talking about what we were going to be doing today. So I see your point of view. I think really what you're saying makes a good point. I think like driving there is a pain. I think maybe the delivery to the house definitely, if that option was available to me, like I think I definitely go with that ahead of having to drive.
And you know what? Obviously, they're gonna get better over time. So it's just gonna get more and more convenient as you go along.
For sure.
Maybe eventually grocery stores will just be big warehouses where you have to order online, and like Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? You order online, they bring it to you.
Well,
you don't even go
I've
there.
heard a lot of people do order groceries even from Amazon.
That's true too. Yeah.
Right. So
a lot of dry goods and things like that.
Yeah.
But
So all right, excellent.
All right, good.
All right, so let's move on to the second topic. So I'm gonna skip the food topic so that we don't do two food topics or too many in a row. So Paul, recently we had the Winter Olympics, right?
Oh yes.
So I guess
I watched them. Yeah, I watched them.
And so my question to you, and the reason why I thought of this topic for you is because I know specifically you don't normally watch too many sports. Like you like sports, but like
you know what? I'll watch the Olympics I like and the odd game here and there, but mostly I don't watch on a regular basis, right?
Okay. So I guess my question is winter or summer Olympics?
That's a good one because I like to do a lot of those sports, winter and summer.
Yeah.
I really like the snowboarding because I snowboarded for, I don't know, past 10 plus years, maybe more. And I just like them doing the half pipe and the tricks and all that because I can never do it myself.
Okay.
In fact, when I did try it one time, I got hurt. So that wasn't a good thing, going up the half pipe and saying, oh, where's the floor?
Yeah.
As you're in the air. I would say, to be honest, I like the winter, I think, just because I used to play hockey, right, as a winter sport. Okay. And although I did play soccer and things like that, I gravitated towards hockey more. And I played that for maybe 10 plus years.
Okay.
So I'm just more prone to liking the winter type of sport.
It's funny because I kind of predicted you were going to say that, right? Because I do aside from like the fact that you look Nordic.
That is true. I'm not real well adept to the sun.
Yeah. So
even winter burns
the winter's definitely up your alley.
Yeah.
So I did kind of predict that. This is where I think I differ with you. Like I enjoy watching the Winter Olympics for sure, but for me, watching the Summer Olympics, I think I enjoy it just a little bit more because of the fact that I feel that when there's that competition in the Summer Olympics, a lot of the times there isn't as much equipment involved,
No,
right?
that's true. Yeah.
So like with winter, there's a lot of like, the with the luge and like all these other things,
there's a lot
right?
of equipment.
Yeah, so there's a lot of equipment. So I feel like it's not like humans going at humans. So it's even just to compare over years, like to see how fast like a woman and a man have become over the years, and just the just the way they how much higher they can jump, and the different.
Well, look, everybody's breaking the 100-meter every year, breaking the record.
It's
right?
crazy,
it's
right?
Ridiculous.
It's like the humans are getting faster, the drugs are getting better.
That's right.
Like
You're
I don't
not
know
allowed that during the Olympics, Joe.
but the point is that like I kind of do. When I was thinking about this topic, I was kind of just. I think I was leaning a little bit towards Summer Olympics solely for that reason. I do like the Winter Olympics because I think that because it happens in the winter, and you're more likely to be inside and watching TV because you don't have as many things to do during the winter.
What's your favorite Summer Olympic event then?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. With Summer Olympics, it's usually like track. Anything that's to do with track.
Yeah, that's like one of the main events for the really popular. People love the 100-meter and the 200, and
even like high jump and long jump, triple jump. Like these are all like your standard cool events that we used to even do as kids.
I love gymnastics.
Gymnastics
that's another
is
thing
cool.
that I really like, just because I have no idea. They're so strong, these people, and they started. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
honest. You got to be pretty fit.
Yeah,
for that's got to be your whole life, basically.
Yeah. So I think for me, the tie break was definitely the fact that I feel like just watching the Summer Olympics, I have more of those like moments where like my jaw drops because I can't believe what I just saw. Whereas I have those moments with the Winter Olympics as well, but I just think that with the Winter Olympics, sometimes it takes it away a little bit because of the fact that guy's skating really fast. Oh, maybe he's got really good skates.
I really like the speed skating.
Yeah.
That was one of my biggest, to me, that's like the 100-meter in the summer games, right? Yeah. It's just something about it that, again, I used to, hockey skating, I used to take power skating, things like that. And I just really love that event.
So I think even the fact that we both, things that we, played when we were younger, or even like sports that we were into. Like I wasn't as much of a winter sport person. So maybe I think that affects a little bit of our watching preferences as well.
I mean, when I was learning snowboarding, I literally went to the mountain every weekend just to learn. And it's one of those things where you got to try it. If you haven't tried snowboarding, you're going to probably hurt your wrists all the time.
I don't have the coordination. Skiing is fine because I have 2 feet beside each other.
Well, what's better than going down
to stabilize myself
with 2 fixed feet and have nowhere to go?
Okay, so the thing with snowboarding is that I am afraid with the snowboard of what will happen when I'm getting off the ski lift if I cannot manage to put that thing back onto my feet, because you have to have it dangling, right?
It's dangling, and then you basically one foot's bound in and the other one's not.
I feel like
a lot of things can happen.
I'm that guy that makes everyone stop on that chair for a long time. Yeah, and everybody's upset at me, right? Or that like the snowboard falls midway up the hill.
I've seen that. I think that happened. Did that happen to me one time where the snowboard actually fell down? I think it did.
Whereas with the skis, I don't feel like that's an issue. I don't know why. I feel more at ease because
Well, here's the thing: the skis, I think they're easier to come off if you fall. I mean, they're made that way so you don't break your leg. But with the snowboard, you're basically stuck. At least you're stuck in there, no matter what. So if you're falling down the hill, you're twisting and turning your whole body. Whereas the skis, they break off, but you know what? They're both dangerous. So
basically, this became a skis versus snowboarding debate.
I guess so. Yeah. So in essence, I like the winter sports and the winter games, and you like the summer games. And
so we
think
that's
a good thing. Yeah.
All right, Paul. What's your second one?
Okay, so the second one is this. So this I had a couple that kind of blend in together, and it has to do with morning, afternoon, or nighttime activities. So basically, what do you prefer is the best time to do certain things? So
interesting.
Like working out morning, afternoon,
I thought of this topic.
Yeah. Or studying if you're in school. Or whatever.
I didn't know how to categorize it because I'm very into categories.
That's right. So, basically that's the debatable topic. So if let's just pick one, working out. Okay. So for me, it's I love to work out in the morning. It is difficult and you have to do it before you go to work. On the weekends, a little easier if you want to sleep in a little bit and do it in the morning. And you can, sometimes you miss it because you're in a hurry.
Okay.
But I find it's the best time to do that.
Yeah.
At night, after you've eaten dinner or whatnot, I feel sluggish and it's very hard. The weights seem like they're double the weight. It's just very difficult, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's basically it. So I find the best time is first thing in the morning.
I think I would have to agree with you. With the working out, 100%, I agree that I think earlier is definitely better. I think given the fact that we actually like have jobs and things to do throughout the day, we don't really have that like mid-morning option unless maybe it's the weekend. Yeah. I think I'd probably prefer that if I had the ability to, but I think morning 100%.
Plus you get it out of the way. Right? Yeah. If you do it first thing before work, I know it's tough because really a lot of us leave the house at 6:30. So that would mean you have to wake up at, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
But regardless, if you do it then, it's done. The rest of the day, you don't have to worry about it.
It does. It feels good.
And it actually gives you more energy, believe it or not, for the rest of the day.
Oh, no, 100%. And the thing that's awesome about it too is that if you have a rough day with your working out, or you have a really amazing day, right? Not only does it set you up for the rest of your day, but I think it also sets you up for even your attitude towards even eating,
definitely.
Right?
Because, everything, I think. Yeah.
Because if you have an amazing day and you're like, you know what, I stayed on the treadmill an extra 30 minutes, an extra 40 minutes. It's okay now that I'm a little bit hungrier during the day because I worked out, and so it makes sense.
Not only that, your attitude changes throughout the day because a lot of us wake up, we're sluggish, we make our coffee or eat our breakfast, we're out of that, we're hurrying a lot of times, and it's just not a good start to the day. But if you've kind of taken control of that time where you said, I'm going to work out, you've accomplished something.
It's a mental thing.
You've accomplished that first goal.
Yeah.
So now you're goal oriented the rest of the day.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, because it's for me, that's what I found when I worked out in the afternoon or at night or late afternoon or at night after dinner. It's just not the same. You first of all, if it's close to bedtime, you stay awake.
Yeah.
Right. So you're energized and you don't sleep well. Maybe you do if you've had a hard workout, you've done the treadmill for an hour or whatever, you may sleep better.
Yeah.
But to get up and go, I think that's the best thing.
And if it's part of a routine, like you said, right, it's easier. But whereas if it's something where it's coming later, maybe you have a tendency to make an excuse. Or it's not even that. I think that then you're leaving it up to other factors.
Events.
The day's events are going to affect your workout.
That's right.
Right. The day's events, the day's foods, everything. Right. It's going to have an impact on how you work out during the day. So I think that's an excellent point. What about though? So you mentioned the working out, but what about if you have like work to do? Like for example, like if I have school work to do because I'm a teacher, etc.
Right.
Like for me, I'm a night owl when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't. To be honest, work at night. I try to do work in the before lunchtime, especially in my business in construction house building. I find that the best time to do the most activity, the most useful activity that produces the most results, are before lunch.
Okay,
because at that time, everybody's, again, this is during work though. So you have to do work during work.
Yeah.
But it's when everything gets organized, everything gets set up for the day and the day after. Then after lunchtime, it's just people asking questions.
Yeah.
What do I do here? What do I do there? So I think that that's the best time for me to produce the greatest amount of progress throughout the day. But in terms of after work, not too late. I honestly, I start going to bed, or we do, my whole family, start going to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock, preparing the kids for, they go to bed around that time, and then me and my wife stay up a little bit longer. We read or we do something like that, and it's the unwinding part. If I do work late at night, my mind won't settle, and I won't sleep.
I agree.
I won't sleep
that happens with me sometimes. But I feel
you text me sometimes at like 11:30, and I see it the next day. And you're probably like, why is this guy texting me back?
No, I'm not like that, because I know.
I'm sleeping. I'm done. Like at 10:30, lights out. Because I wake up at 4:30, right? I just
see. I find my productivity.
I don't know how you stay awake so long.
Well, you know what? The thing is that sometimes I just I need that like quiet around me. And
that's your quiet time.
I've always had that, even like when I was at school. Some of my study sessions for tests and exams, etc., always went late at night. And I don't know if it was because like it created an adrenaline in me. That, like,
see, that's my next topic. Okay, I know we're jumping ahead, but we'll get to that.
Okay, so we're going to talk about adrenaline soon. All right. Okay, so my next topic, Paul, is your driving preference.
Okay. So please elaborate.
So meaning, over time or even in general, whether it's changed on your preference to drive, like, for example, a car, an SUV, a truck. Okay, because I think about this a lot too, because I've switched back and forth a couple of times.
Me too.
And so I was trying to, when I was coming up with some topics to debate, I was trying to come up with some topics that are things that maybe depend on circumstance. And so that's why I wanted to kind of get your point of view on this.
Okay, so I mean, I started out in a car, to be honest, and over the years I've, I guess upgraded, if you will, to an SUV. And I can't go back.
Okay.
And the reason is, a couple of things. The obvious reason is you're up higher. People like to sit up higher. They can see more. Apparently, I find that that's the case. I feel like you're in a bigger vehicle so that you're more safe, if you will. Forget about the gas. It drinks gas. But
the gas is
that's
huge.
Besides the point. It just feels more secure in a bigger vehicle to me. If you're down low, well, here's the other thing. I think the majority of people now, if you see, everybody has a van, SUV, pickup truck, things like that. I think that's the majority of vehicles on the road now. Cars are probably 20% right now of the vehicles on the road. Before it was the opposite. Now, I may be wrong. It's just, I'm just thinking about what I'm seeing. But there's a reason, I think, because when you're in the car, everybody else is up high. You feel like, especially if you're driving on the highway, you're in traffic and you're kind of looking up to everybody beside you and in front of you and all that. And there's all these trucks around you. So you feel like you're kind of boxed in all the time.
I do feel like that sometimes in my car.
That kind of bothers me. And I did at one point, I went from a car to a pickup truck back to a car.
Okay.
And I think I sold that car within like 4 months. I couldn't do it. It was done. I had to switch back to the truck. And I just seem to keep getting bigger vehicles. Okay. And it's, maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not. But definitely the preference has changed from, I guess when you're just starting out learning to drive, you just kind of take what you can get. You have a car,
I think
like,
typically
okay,
I think to start off, most people are probably able to afford when they're younger cars
so different,
for the most part.
Different affordability. Definitely. I mean, SUVs now cost, anywhere from 70 and up. And it's ridiculous, for sure. Right? 70,000. And it's kind of, not in the range of affordability for a lot of people. So they stick with the cars, which is completely fine. But if we're talking preference, forget, financials aside and all that, I got to stick with that SUV.
So I think that, when I drove a SUV, I did really like being up higher, just like you said, being able to, I feel, see more when I was stopped at lights, etc. I think maybe because I had a bad experience with my SUV, right? It was pretty much a piece of crap from the day I bought it. Okay.
That's not good.
I think that's probably maybe led to me not liking it as much as I probably would. I know when I drive my wife's SUV, I like driving it, but for me, for some reason, when I went back to a car, I really enjoyed it. The only thing that really holds me back is that height thing, like you said. I do feel like sometimes when I'm in the car, and especially on the highway, right? Sometimes I'll be driving on the highway, and there's literally trucks in front to both of my sides and behind me.
Yeah, right. And you feel boxed in, right?
I feel like that. I feel like that. That scene from what's that race car? that driving what?
What, like a cartoon movie?
No, that scene from that driving movie that they've had like 20 different versions of already with Vin Diesel. Where like
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. I don't know why the name escaped me there. Where like the car goes underneath the truck to switch lanes.
Yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't try that in real life.
No, obviously don't try this at home. But I'm just saying, like, from time to time, I felt like, am I in a movie here? Because like, why am I the only car?
Well, listen, cars are more maneuverable, I think, than SUVs or bigger trucks or whatever. Those trucks they're more sluggish. They have roll when you turn and steer. But cars, definitely. When I was in the car, I felt like, wow, I could just kind of go in and out of these other cars. Yeah. I mean, it's just preference. A friend of mine, he sticks with cars. He loves them. I said, why don't you get an SUV? No, I like cars. I guess okay, well, get a car.
What about that old adage that everyone used to talk about with SUVs about the flipping over? Do you think that's fact or fiction?
You know what? Maybe when they first came out, they were testing these things. There was some, test that occurred where these things did flip over at high speeds around the corners. But I think with the technology now, the computers basically run the show. They kind of stabilize the trucks. They're a lot more stiff when going around the corners. And listen, you take anything at high speed around a corner, you're going to flip over, even if it's a regular car, because listen, we can get into science and physics. If you want the center of gravity and all that. If you have a lower center of gravity, these race cars, you can go around a corner at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I know. But because what I was going to say to you, because I was going to say to you is that there's been times where I'm in an SUV and it's a really windy day and I don't feel the safest.
So I had a Suzuki Sidekick.
Okay. It ended up beside you.
It did. So this car was, I don't know why they made this thing, but it was Suzuki Sidekick. It was blue, convertible.
No offense to any Sidekick drivers out there.
That's right. No offense. I think we had a couple versions of it when it first came out, but this thing past 80 kilometers an hour on the highway felt like it was going to lift, going in a straight line. It felt like it was going to lift off the road and fly to the side. Now, I remember one time in high school, I was going to a rugby game, part of the rugby team, and I had, I think, 5 people in that car. So 5 rugby players. So this was a heavy car, right? And the thing was lifting off the highway and I was going around maybe 90 kilometers an hour. And I'm like, guys, I don't know if we're going to make it to this game, but we made it. Yeah. But it was a scary thing, man. Yeah. And I think they stopped making that car now because of that.
So I think there is some truth potentially to that whole idea of it flipping and stuff. But I've never been really worried with turns and stuff. But I do, like I said, on a windy day, there's been times where I feel safer in my car being a little bit lower to the ground than in an SUV for sure.
This is true. Yeah. This is true.
Paul, what's your next topic?
All right. So I kind of touched on it the last topic, but this is maybe more for the people in schools, right? Or people who study or are working towards something. So when you're studying for something or, learning about a new job or whatever it is, when you're learning, do you find it's best to cram everything into one night or 2 nights or slowly study it over time? So let's say you have you're in university, you have an exam. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you cramming the night before for this test? Or are you studying a little bit every single day? Because I have 2 opinions on this. I may have done both. Obviously, all of us have done both.
For me, I feel this is a very it depends situation.
Right. Depends. Yeah. I agree.
But not even it depends on the actual situation itself. I really do think this is it depends on the learner, to be honest with you. Yeah. Personally, I feel that, for example, when I went to business school, I did my work throughout the term in my economics course, right? But then at the end of the economics course, they give you this really huge multiple choice test.
Oh, I've had many of those.
That's 300 marks
Wow.
on the whole economics textbook.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the weekend before the test, I reread the whole textbook.
Yeah.
Right. Because for me, even though I had learned all that stuff, I was taking other courses. I was at Schulich in York, and it's a pretty intense program, and it was too much because I found that I would learn something, I would do what I had to do with whatever I just learned, and then I would just move on to the next thing because of the stress level of trying to keep up with or keep that knowledge inside my mind.
Yeah. So there's a lot of factors. One of them is I'm going to forget something. I want to read it again and over and again. So I'm going to read the whole book before the night before a test or exam. Yeah. And I've done that before.
I took mental pictures, Paul.
That's right.
Mental pictures.
That's true. Well, here's an example. So, okay. First of all, let's start a little bit of a background. So when I was in school, I would study a little bit each day.
Yeah.
I would, review all the notes of the class each day. And then by the end of the week, I know I do everything from that week.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to a test, I just had to review a little bit and I would do well on the test. University was a different story. This was in high school. University was a different story where there's so many courses that you need to take. There's so many hours that you need to study. So a lot of people cram the night before just because there's just no time.
Yeah.
Right. But if you make time,
it's time management.
It's time management, right? Don't tell that to a stressed out engineering student, right? Yeah. But there's time management where if you study a little bit each day, I believe that you don't need to cram. You may have to review slightly, but you've retained the knowledge because you retain more if you study a little bit at a time and then take breaks and then study a little bit more and take breaks. You retain more. It's 100%. Fact.
I agree.
Now, when I was in an engineering course called Material Science in university, I had no time for that course. Okay. So I would do all the other courses like physics and chemistry and calculus and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And this course was it was a bother for me, but I had to take it. It was first year mechanical engineering, right?
Okay.
So I was taking that course. It came to the exam. I didn't read anything in the textbook, right? And I had to study. So I said, what do I do? The cram time had to happen.
It had to happen.
So, and literally the night before, I read the entire textbook. But you don't just read the book and hope that something's on the test. You have to think about what do you think will be on the test. And study that,
exactly.
Right? You can skim the book. And now, mind you, this book was maybe a couple hundred pages. It wasn't those math textbooks were like 500-600 pages of literally cryptic messages everywhere. But you have to do that. You have to say, okay, if I'm going to cram, what do I think is going to be on that test, right?
Yeah.
Not everything. And maybe you're right, maybe you're not. Hopefully you do well.
There's more of a risk.
There's more of a risk. But if you studied it slowly over time, you can afford that little time the night before where it's like, I don't have that much time to study, so I'm going to review it again.
Yeah.
But you'll know it at that time.
So with that being said, my issue when I was in business school was subject matter, because I felt at times that if I did too much, like for example, if I have an exam on Monday and then I have another exam on Thursday, right?
Oh yeah.
And the topics were similar. Right. I was worried about mixing stuff up.
Over.
I know it sounds foolish, but
I'm laughing because it's happened before to me.
I'm taking management accounting. Yeah. I'm taking financial accounting.
And you're taking accounting management.
Exactly. Right. So there's all different names for it because they got to sell you a course.
That's right. And $150 textbook.
Exactly. So you have all these things. And there was that little bit of worry. It's almost like I wanted to just completely study for one thing. Mm-hmm. And then when that one thing was over, I could say to myself, okay, that's done. Now I can move on to the next one. And I feel like, okay, I'm not going to mess up and do something that I wasn't and say and write down something that I wasn't supposed to.
Well, listen, I think it's a matter of try it out yourself kind of thing, right? Whoever's listening, if you're going to cram, see what happens.
I'll be honest with you though. I do believe that what you're saying is 100% correct, though. I think that over time, most people will have more success by actually taking the time to study it ahead of time.
Oh, definitely. I believe that too.
They might have to cram again before because maybe their long-term memory isn't the best. And that's why I said it's more, I think, of an individual person.
Here's a fact, though. If you read something, I'm sure people have heard this before, but if you read something, you retain a certain percentage of it that you've read.
Yeah.
Maybe not that much.
Yeah.
If you read it and write it, you retain another percentage. If you read, write, and say it out loud as you're writing it, then you retain the most. So, I used to do that.
So for me, it was reading it out loud so I can hear myself.
Right.
And so that's one of the things. And the second, mental picture.
I used to do that too.
No, I'm telling you, it's weird, but I had this thing where I could remember exactly where a fact was on what page of a textbook in a corner somewhere. It just, for some reason, my brain worked that way.
You know what's funny? I did that with biology. It was back in high school.
Those are some crazy mental pictures.
No, but I remember, like, I could still picture right now, like charts in my mind of like the parts of a cell. It's strange, but I could have, and it's funny because I said that the other day.
It's the mighty mitochondria.
That's right. Right. But I used to say, I think it was the other day, last week, I was saying it at the dinner table. My wife's looking at me like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And I was saying, this is that, this is that. She's like, well, how do you remember that? I said, I have no idea. Yeah. Because I was reading it, writing it, and saying it.
The saying part, right? It's why my kids look at me like I'm a freak show when I can sing all of Ice Ice Baby from Vanilla Ice.
I think everybody could sing that song.
Oh, come on, Paul. You haven't heard it till you heard me sing it.
He's still around, that guy.
He is.
Doing movies.
I think he's doing real estate.
You know what? I saw his show.
He has a show.
He was doing real estate. He was flipping houses.
All right.
Anyways.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic. I think we've exhausted that one. So my next question, Paul, going back to a food topic, is pie or cake?
You know what's funny? I wrote that down. And then I erased it because I'm like, for some reason, I think Joe's going to mention something about a dessert.
Yeah.
Pie or cake?
Pie or cake?
To be honest, pie. I like pie better.
Okay. So,
and I'll tell you why I like
pie.
Should I elaborate?
Oh, elaborate.
Okay, I'm going to elaborate. So now, it depends on the cake. Okay, because there's sponge cakes. There's in Italian sfoglia cakes, right? There's short cakes, strawberry shortcakes. There's a bunch of different cakes. There's cakes with a lot of that frosting and cream on it. So if you're talking about the frosting and cream and overdoing of that, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'll have an apple pie or a cherry pie is my favorite.
Okay.
Over a cake. I just find it simple. There's just the pie crust with some fruits, a lot of sugar.
Okay.
And that's it. And you're done. A cake, a lot more goes into it, I think, which is good, but it stuffs you. You eat it, it's like, oh, why did I eat that? Pie, it's like, give me more.
But I think. Which one is someone more likely to mess up?
Cake.
You think so?
Yeah. Listen, a pie, you could buy the crust.
No.
Pre-made. You're talking from scratch here.
But the essence is the filling.
It is, but now, if you're talking about a store-bought filling,
if you
then
mess
it's
up the crust, it becomes a crumble.
It does, but that's good too, isn't it?
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But so let's say someone comes up to you and the plate, like this is kind of like a game show or something, right? So like you get these two plates in front of you and someone says there's a pie underneath one of them and there's a cake underneath the other one, but you don't know what kind of pie, you don't know what kind of cake.
All right.
Okay. My thing with this choice is this. I agree with you. I think I like pie generally better.
It's simple.
It's simple. Okay. You can add ice cream to it.
You know what? Yes, exactly. Okay. You can make it a cakey dessert.
But I feel cake is less risky for me. Because
please explain, because what is that?
It's less risky. There's the potential, like the filling could be really messed up with pies. Like people, they fool around with pie fillings. They put stuff in those pies that shouldn't be in pies.
That's true.
Whereas a cake, it's sugar.
Well, listen, you don't have like chicken cakes. You have chicken pie though, don't you?
I have chicken pot pie.
That's right. You can't put chicken in a cake.
No, you can't. You can't.
I don't know if that'll taste that.
Paul, we're not putting chicken in cake.
Right.
No.
But, hey, listen, it could happen.
But I'm just saying, like, if you're really hungry and you don't want to embarrass yourself or the person serving you the food, right?
I think the only thing you could do with a pie is burn the crust. So a cake, it may not, when you want a nice moist cake, nice spongy thing.
Moisture is huge with cake.
It is.
Yeah.
A lot of people screw
along
that
with
up.
the milk that comes along with it.
That's right. Yeah. But you put that cake in the oven for a little bit longer than it should be, it's done. It's like a rock. That's dry, true. Right? If you eat it the next day, it's still dry.
Okay.
But a pie, you can just warm it up and it's done.
Yeah, but I'll eat
just
pie
as
cold.
Good as
I'll eat pie cold. Apple pie, I'll eat cold.
Yeah, I'll eat it too cold.
Cherry pie too, I'll eat it cold.
I'll eat any pie cold, to be honest.
But the essence, Paul. Let's get back to the essence. You're laughing, but it's really important to me, right? Because people put stupidity in pies.
They do, but if you're following a recipe, there's no reason that you should screw that up, especially if the recipe is the proper recipe, proper, measured ingredients, right?
Okay.
Now, if you're making it, off the top of your head, there's more likely you're going to screw it up, right? Unless you've known it, you've made it before. Really, though, it's just fruit mixed with some sugar and maybe some gelatin.
Try weird stuff, though. That's what I'm trying to say. They try to add different types of fillings together. They do these combo things.
Oh
right?
yeah, that I don't agree with.
Don't get me wrong. I've had this really good strawberry apple pie. It's excellent.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying.
There's a tardiness from the apple and the sweet. But people try. They don't stick to just your regular apple pie anymore, right? You could do these coconut pies, these banana cream pies.
If you're mixing the ingredients that should not go together, I agree. It's just sometimes you're right. They test it out, right? Maybe you have a chocolate and I don't know,
Paul. So I'm gonna bring up this point. Maybe this is the reason why I tend to lean cake.
Okay.
Because of the risk. Okay. I love pie. Okay. I prefer pie. But growing up, me and my sister, we used to fight over this delicious pie. It was amazing.
Okay. So who made that pie?
So my grandparents, my parents, they made it.
Yeah.
Paul, this pie, at the time, we thought it was just chocolate pie. But it was boiled pig's blood.
Oh my God. I knew you were going to say
with
that.
The chocolate, Paul. It's a calabrese thing.
I'm never eating pie again.
I'm from South, but I'm from South. My family's from Southern Italy, right? And they don't want to waste any part of the pig.
Pie.
They don't want to waste any part of the pig. So
but here's the thing. If they don't want to waste it, why are they putting it in a pie? But Paul, of all things.
But Paul, the thing is this. We loved that pie until we found out what was in the pie.
So there you go.
So how many times has that happened potentially with people that they're eating pie and there's something in there?
Oh yeah. So when I was in Italy one time, we were having, you have prosciutto and stuff like that, the cold cuts, right? Yeah. So we were eating. I was like, oh, this is really good stuff. It was like prosciutto looking type of thing. That was really good. I was eating it after, eating, I don't know how many I ate with breadsticks. That's the best, right? Yeah. You roll it in the breadstick, you eat it. Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, you're making me hungry.
This prosciutto is good, Mom. This prosciutto is great. Oh, yeah, that's cow's tongue.
Oh, my God.
I was like, what? Oh, that was it. Never had it again. But it was so good.
I've seen you have prosciutto. Don't tell me you haven't had prosciutto.
No, prosciutto, yes, but not cow's tongue.
No, cow's tongue.
I don't know how or where they got that from, but that was kind of...
So I guess what I'm trying to say...
same thing, kind of.
For me, the only thing, ironically, that would mess up cake is fruit. I love my fruit in my pie, but I don't want...
I think you like the blood in the pie, to be honest, with chocolate.
But I don't like little chunks of fruit in my cake.
Well, if this candied fruit, I don't like it. If it's real fruit, if you have a strawberry shortcake.
Okay, you're right.
That's really good.
I have to say,
right? Yeah. But if you have
dry fruit,
no, that's like a fruit cake.
My aunt in Syracuse makes a cake with apple in it. that is tremendous.
Oh, see that I like the apple,
like an spongy apple cake.
Spongy
apple cake.
That's fun. Yeah,
a little bit of cinnamon.
I like that stuff.
Yeah, so there's definitely some crossover.
There is, yeah,
but we don't want to cross it.
It's a give and take.
We don't cross it over with the pig's blood. We both agree.
Let's leave that for the off the table there. Yeah, not in any kind of dessert whatsoever.
Exactly. All right. So that was I think that was my fourth. So I'm gonna have one more after this, but I don't. Yeah. I think you have at least one or two more.
Yeah. So I have. Okay. So my next one is, I guess, the digital age, the computer age. Everybody's doing things on their phones and tablets, computers, all that.
Yeah.
Do you, whether at work or at home or whatnot, prefer the paper or everything digital? Everything paper or everything digital, or kind of both? And if it's both, what do you use each of them for? So like the whole go paperless thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the topic.
That's good. That's a good topic, Paul. With this, I think I have to mention one of your annoyances from last time.
Okay.
Which is clutter.
Oh, there you go.
Right. So I think a lot of times it depends. Sometimes I feel like if I'm doing something like, for example, organizing a trip, right?
All right.
Or a grocery list or like things like that, I feel like I have to write it down. Yeah, right.
Okay.
I won't put like a list on my phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I prefer to do that. If I'm not going to write it down to remember it, I know this is bad. I'll take a picture of it.
Okay.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like if I need to even if I have a list and I'm scared that I'm going to forget the list that I wrote down, I'll take a picture of the list. But I won't type it out because I feel like
it's like a backup.
I don't use my phone that often to like type things like that for myself, like memos and things like that. I probably should because I forget things.
Well, like for instance, if I have things like, bills, paper bills and all that, they still come. A lot of them, you've switched them to digital only, can download them online. But still, a lot of things come in the mail. Yeah. So I just take a picture of it, scan it with your scanning app.
Yeah.
And I'll just save it on like an app like Evernote or something like that, or a note-taking app.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. And then I'll store it in the file folder.
Yeah.
But still, the paper's there.
Yeah.
It's stuffing into the file folder, which is getting excessively overfilled, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually you throw them out, I guess, right? A lot of people love to keep paper copies of everything just for back. Well, even like lawyers and things like that. They need to keep paper copies. It's a requirement, right? Or engineers are the same thing for so many years.
We have requirements in education as well.
Yeah, right. So even in our business as well, I like to have paper backups of purchase and sale agreements and things like that. And you need originally signed copies and all that.
Yeah,
we won't get into too much detail about that stuff, but I find that lately over the past few years, I've tried to put everything in my phone or tablet or computer or whatever in some kind of app. Yeah. Now, is that a good thing? What if the app crashes? What if, I like to back up things as well to like a local server at either whether my house or the office or something. But, one day, who knows what can happen to all this data?
I know. This is the problem.
Well, okay, so here's another thing. So all these people who store these paper copies of things for years in folders and those, what are they called? Those binder box things.
Yeah.
This happened to somebody one time where there was a flood in the storage room. All the stuff's gone.
That's it.
And you know what? There's no digital copies.
Yeah.
So now what? Right?
This is a conundrum.
It's a conundrum. So I think maybe you got to do both for now.
That's a lot of clutter.
That's a lot of clutter.
Electronic and paper clutter.
Well, your data is going to be huge in the storage device. And then your space is going to be taken up in real life.
I agree with you, though. It's challenging. I think that for school-wise, even I think as a teacher, teachers are going through this a lot, right? Because now what's happening is we were forced to go and do online teaching, right? And so I know that a lot of probably parents and stuff at home were getting frustrated because they were getting things sent to their kids on computer, and it was like things that were scanned because teachers were forced to just learn the technology quickly and switch from paper to electronic at the snap of a finger.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's very challenging, but I think that the problem is that over time, like at the beginning of my career, I had a lot of stuff in paper because it was easier back then, right?
Yeah.
But now I don't have barely anything on paper that's like material that I'm going to be teaching with the students, because I create stuff, I put them in folders on my drive, I have it set up on Google Classroom, so there's it feels like I'm organized. I may not even be organized, but I convince myself
that you are
that I'm organized.
Well, I really like the fact that you can organize digital paperwork differently than in real life. Like it's hard to put a lot of things in folders. You have different labels,
like subfolders and all that stuff.
You know, online you put in some kind of drive, Google Drive or something. You can organize it,
etc.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But one thing that is to me, it's a kind of I like it, but I don't, because there's some pitfalls. But there's there's a lot of benefits. Is digital books, right?
Yeah.
So digital books, I love them because you can highlight them.
Yep.
Right there.
That's good.
And you can edit the highlight. You don't have to erase anything. You can make notes in it, things like that. What I don't like about it is that you can't flip to a page right away. You have to like kind of go to a search, or some apps have something where you can view all the pages quicker or something like that. But in a book, a physical book, you could just like flip to the page.
Yeah, but
right
but you know what else though? Somebody else can pick up your book and flip the page too.
That's right. They can see all your notes and things like that. Exactly. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, digitally they can too, I guess.
They can,
Someone comes
put up maybe a password on your app or something. But I just find it like, you know, it does remember what page you're on, but it's like, well, let me go back to that page that I was on.
I was referring to the germs, Paul.
Okay, well, that's Why did you say that, Joe?
I was referring to the germs. It is annoying if someone comes and like
they can put a smudge on your screen.
No, because like my youngest son, right? Like he gets really like he reads a lot, right?
Yeah.
And he's really particular about making sure that nobody like messes up his page, right? Because when he has to save at night, because we're like, hey, your light's still on, you need to go to sleep, and he's like, okay, right? Yeah. But and so I understand that annoyance, but definitely like even the fact that like books are being passed around.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, even reading at night is more convenient on a tablet, I think, because the backlight.
But are we all going blind, Paul?
I think we are. I honestly do.
Because we're going to have a podcast at some point where Paul and I talk about the floaties that we see in our eyes.
Oh, that's...
Because this is a commonality that we have at some point.
Why did you have to mention? Now I see them right
now.
I
see them too. All right. So I think Paul, like we do both agree that like there are circumstances where we sometimes tend to do paper more, but for the most part we've gone more electronic.
I think. Well, listen, I think in like, you know, don't count me on this, 5 to let's say 10 years, paper is going to be like almost done. I think. Yeah. Right. It's
because people don't use it because of the trees.
Yeah, maybe both. It could be both. Yeah, it could be both.
It could be both. So okay. So my last topic is we kind of touched on it with the groceries, and it's about online shopping or in person. And I mentioned groceries when I was kind of doing the notes for myself, but I kind of wanted to get an idea from you as to like whether the product and the amount you're spending affects the online shopping, and whether you're going to make that choice, and like what are some like online shopping things that you've done in the past, right?
Groceries or anywhere
in general, because for me, I struggle with purchasing clothes.
Oh yeah, that's
period. Not even online or in period.
Well, listen, you order online, and I'm sure a lot of people struggle with this. Yeah. You got to know your size for that store. Yeah. Or for that brand.
But am I carrying a tape measure around?
Maybe. I don't know, right? You might have to. Yeah. But I mean, because I found that, you know, if I order clothes online, which I rarely do, to be honest, but when I have a certain brand of shirt in a medium, let's say, is different than a certain than another brand in a medium, and one's small, one's big, one's tight, one's you know, baggy, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's very difficult clothing wise.
Yeah.
But like other things, I'll just order.
Yeah.
Right. Because you can price shop different stores, different suppliers instantly.
Yeah.
Right. And I find that, Amazon seems to be my best friend, as I'm sure it's a lot of people's best friend.
Yeah.
Good or bad, but people still order from it.
Yeah.
And it's just so convenient, man. Like I don't think I've been to an actual physical store,
but a lot of people,
aside from like Home Depot.
A lot of people are getting ripped off on Amazon, though.
Well, you know what? I think they're fine getting ripped off to a point.
But people
because of the convenience.
But I think people are assuming best price a lot of times with Amazon. I don't know. I get this feeling from people that it's become such a thing that I'm an Amazon shopper, that it's almost like they feel like that's the brand, right? Like they have to go with Amazon every time.
That on Amazon, all these sellers, even Amazon, they're buying them for less than half the price and selling them to you for double.
No, I get it, but I mean, for example, like some people. I know, like for one time, I overheard someone saying that for Nespresso, for example, that they buy their Nespresso pods off of Amazon, and I went to go check, and they were more expensive everywhere I looked on Amazon than they were from Nespresso. And then I'm thinking in my head, but why are you making this purchase? Like it's like you have this thing.
Here's the other question then. So if you have to have Nespresso, I agree. Maybe it's more expensive on Amazon, and they know that.
Yeah.
They know that people want it. They want the brand, so they're going to charge for it.
Yeah.
And if people don't want they want the convenience, maybe that whether it's shipping in a day or whatever, they'll go to Amazon.
Yeah.
If they want to save a few dollars and go somewhere else, then they'll do that as well. Yeah. But if they don't, they're like, well, there's other brands on here. Just buy those. Right.
Yeah, but I feel that Amazon and some of the online shopping things, they kind of suckered you in at the beginning.
Yeah.
By giving you a really good service, maybe getting you better prices, right? It's like a cloak.
You know what it is? People don't want to wait.
Yeah, the waiting is huge, but I also think like back in the day when Walmart came out, everybody's Walmart, right? Like you got to go to Walmart, one-stop shop. You got to go to Walmart, right? Then like if you listen to people, right? There's people who I got to go to Costco, right? Got to go to Amazon, right? So it's
preference, right?
Yeah. They're branded.
They're branded.
It's crazy.
I think that's what their purpose was, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to brand it in a way to say, you know what, you want something from us to come the next day or 2 days, that's come here.
Yeah.
Like if I order from anywhere else, the first thing I say is, when is it going to show up?
Yeah.
Right? Check Amazon. If it's a few dollars more, I'll pay just because I want it tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
Right? Like I ordered something from Walmart.
Yeah. Oh, Walmart's a pain.
So I ordered a few things, but this one time I ordered it's called a shotgun microphone for your camera.
Yeah.
Okay, you put it on your camera. It was, good microphone. It was a lot of money. It was cheapest on Walmart.
Yeah.
Even with the shipping, it was cheapest. I never got it.
The pains that came after.
I never got it. I was on the phone with Walmart. It was a third-party supplier.
The third-party supplier is a big thing.
They said, "Oh, it's coming. It's it's en route. Whatever." I called I think it was FedEx.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where this thing was.
Nobody knows. This happened with my friend Alfredo with a coffee machine. This happened with us with a toy at Christmas.
It took me, I think, 2 months to finally get my money back. Because they thought I got it. I never got it.
My question is...
To this day, I still don't have it.
At what point is Amazon going to become the next Walmart when it comes to that? Like, you know what I mean?
I think
I just feel like we get fished in.
Well, I think maybe Walmart's focused on pumping out the sales, whereas Amazon is also focused on that, but they're more focused on the customer experience, so they claim, right?
Okay.
So let's if anything, let's deliver that thing quickly and satisfy the customer.
Okay.
Right? And then they'll deal with the returns and all that after.
But
that's what I think. It's a different mentality.
But do we agree then that when it comes to online shopping, I think both of us were not into the clothing online?
Oh, the clothing, I like I said, I've ordered shoes online where they don't fit.
Yeah,
but it's my size.
A pain, right? Shoes is huge too because then
you have to return
depending on the shoe.
Days.
Like it fits different, right?
Yeah.
Puma has a very thin shoe, right?
You don't know unless you order it,
or
go there and try it on, right?
Like even the other day, I was looking for jerseys for my kids for Raptors and even for myself, and I had to take out a measuring tape.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, I had to try to figure this out because there's no medium, small. There's all these like youth, super small, X. There's all these different letters they're adding on.
Plus they grow every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You order something, by the time it gets there in 2 days, they've grown an inch. Like
100%,
crazy,
100%. But I just like whatever happened to like small, medium, large?
It doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore.
No. There's like triple extra small and triple extra large, and like there's like the 43, 48, 47. Like what?
It's kind of scary.
It is kind of scary.
Do you have a final topic?
I do have a final topic. So not that I like to admit that I watch a lot of TV.
Okay.
However, on those times where I'm not working out or doing work, I like to watch TV.
Yeah.
Do you prefer TV series or movies?
Interesting.
Go ahead.
So for me, I feel like when I used to watch TV growing up, I definitely was into a lot of different series, right? Like I really love Seinfeld. I'm a big, huge Seinfeld fan.
That was one of the
right.
best
I was
ones.
Never really a big Simpsons person. I know you love Simpsons.
I watched every episode.
Yeah,
to be honest.
But Who's the Boss? Like,
God, I love those shows.
all these Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
Like all
they
these
don't make shows like that.
Yeah,
today.
Classic
comedy shows.
Even
anyway.
Alf with that little alien when I was growing up. Right. So these are like I really like those shows, and I think that at some point, maybe once I started going out of my house more, then I got more into movies, right? Like, and then people are talking more about movies and stuff when you're talking to them. Oh, did you see that movie? Did you see? Because it was almost like
social thing, I guess.
Back in the day, it was a big social thing, right? Did you watch the latest movie?
Yeah.
Well, and I think now, it's gone more towards TV or not even TV, but like.
Well, every time you call me, like, did you watch that series? Did you watch this series?
And I think the reason why I say that is because of the fact that, when I have time to sit down to watch something other than something with my kids, right? Like with my kids, we tend to watch like movies together.
Yeah,
right.
True, yeah.
So if we sit down and watch a family movie, then we're usually watching something that's tailored towards family, right?
True, yeah.
Whereas my wife and I, right, we sometimes we're trying to squeeze in like an hour of watching something together at night or something, right? And so sometimes we don't have enough time to watch a movie, right? In one sitting,
true too. Yeah, it's
in one
the time
sitting.
factor as well,
right?
Yeah.
But we have time to maybe get invested in something that we like, learn about the characters, and then over time
develops over a long period.
The problem is that, like, I don't know. I get, and I know lately I think I've overwhelmed Paul with some of the things I've mentioned.
You gotta watch this. You gotta watch that.
You gotta watch that. But
okay,
I find that I don't have enough time. Like I have people that tell me constantly, "Oh, you gotta watch a show," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's great. I'd like to finish the one I'm watching first."
Well, there's so many shows that have come out now that are all quotations good.
Yeah,
and are amazing shows that you want to watch. And let me finish one. Let me go to the next. So I know the stories, right? Yeah. But I find, you're right about the time thing. Like I'll watch movies that I'll have to stop, after 45 minutes or half an hour, depending on the length, and restart them just because of things are going on during the day or at night or whatever. For me, preferably, and to be honest, like I like series, but I've watched, I think it's like a 90-10, believe it or not, movies to television series. I watch movies like all the time.
Yeah.
There's something about TV series that's like, if they're good series, I'll watch them, right? Like some of them that you refer to.
I got you obsessed with Lost.
Okay, that thing there. This was when I had more time to watch TV.
Yeah.
I think I did a binge 2-week entire series of Lost because you have to know what's going on in the next one.
Yeah.
They end it so that you want to know. It's like, turn on the next one. I want to know what's going on. And I did that and I just couldn't stop. These days, it's like, I think I've watched every movie that's come out, I swear, because it's just something about it that it's like, you sit there and it's like, okay, after this, I don't have to worry about the movie anymore.
That's true. Right? You're not invested.
No. And it's like, but some of them end off where you're like, is there going to be a second one? Because they didn't really explain.
But it's not a big deal.
It's like not a big deal. Yeah. But in a TV series, you're like, okay. Well, you know what? The series I got really into was Lucifer, to be honest. Okay. And I thought that, it's a strange show that I was going to get into, but I found it interesting. So we kind of, almost every night, before bed, we would watch a show, an episode, right? Because now you don't have to wait till the next week. It's on Netflix. You watch it. You can watch the whole season, one after the other. But certain shows I'll watch like that. Other ones, they have all kinds of shows, like Billions is a show, and they have like even I got to watch that one you said.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Yeah, Money Heist.
Money Heist, right? There's a bunch of different shows that I'm sure.
I think it's the investment factor.
It's the investment. It's like now I have to dedicate not only an hour and a half, like basically a month,
but not even just that.
My time,
Paul. It's also
my tallied time.
It's also the disappointment factor if it doesn't come out the way you want. Because my wife and I watched How I Met Your Mother.
Oh yeah, I never got into.
And at the end of the day, I didn't like the way he met his mother.
And that's the whole premise of the show.
Was about How I Met Your Mother, and the whole time we didn't even know who the mother was.
That's right,
right? And so that frustrated me because it's as if like they got 8 seasons in and they're like, wow, like we need to tell these guys who the mother is now.
That's right.
How are we gonna tie this thing together, right?
Don't tell me, I might watch it.
No, I know you'll watch it because your doppelganger's in that show.
We'll
talk about that in
another episode.
So I think that's all of our debate topics for today, Paul. So as we always do, I think we want to just thank the audience for losing themselves in our conversations. Until next time, I'm Joel.
I'm Paul.
We'll see you.